Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia. This is the summary for day 52, 16th of April. Basically, that's yesterday. So this summary is slightly late because the time now in Ukraine is actually already past noon, 12:39 noon. The reason was because just before I wanted to start recording, I discovered some progress in the Izyum side, and then that led me to quite a bit of digging before I feel comfortable to do the summary. And anyway, there's not a lot of news without this part, so that led me to a lot more digging to try to find more information. So before we start, please press the like button. If you're not sure why, please go and check out the video in the editor's playlist. Basically is talking about how the like button actually helps to share, help to make YouTube automatically recommend the video to more new users. So this will help the channel to grow. So please help me press the like button, and let's start. Interestingly, there's no missile strikes to report. So for the first time in a long time, there's no missile strikes to it's not that there's no missile strikes, but there's no missile strikes that I would report about. On the Mykolaiv front, there is no news, there is no progress, everything is status quo. Then let's move to Zaporizhzhia line. In Zaporizhzhia line, there's nothing here. No news in the Donetsk front. There's no progress. Coming to Mariupol. So there is this news article that I just saw. You see 4 minutes ago when I first entered this. That the Russian forces is conducting a special operation to free hostages held by the Ukrainian forces in a Turkish mosque. So when I searched the Turkish mosque, and based on also the photo in the tweet, I managed to ID it as the Meshed Suleimana Rosolani. I'm sure I pronounced this wrongly. So it's actually a Turkish Muslim mosque, and so this actually kind of moved my front line, because my front line previously was cut off here. So I actually move it forward to encompass this area of the mosque. So despite a lot of talk about how the Ukrainians are now only in Azovstal plant, I think this is inaccurate. We are still having reports of fighting elsewhere. So the front line remains in this shape. With this part being very suspicious because we're not so sure what's the situation around this area. And previously the border was cut around here. I have moved out because I saw a video footage of Ukrainian forces in this desert-like region here. Then there's a UAV basically tracking them, and then they were like running around and get bombarded. So I decided that to be as accurate as I can, I actually try to encompass this entire Azovstal area as still under Ukrainian. But of course, you can see the pink border is also going in, because the Russian forces does indeed infiltrated the entire area, and a lot of the Ukrainian forces is actually underground. Because even for the drone footage, we are not so sure when was the drone footage being taken. So anyway, this has been the situation on the ground for some time, so it's nothing special. So there is not much progress other than some statements from the Russian Ministry of Defense. So as I say, this is from the Russian Ministry of Defense information. If you want to talk, if the Ukrainian one, they just say that this is a disaster, Mariupol is in a critical situation, but that's what Zelensky say, and it's not very meaningful. And they say it's a very inhumane situation, so he should have surrendered, right? If so inhumane. So anyway, so it's a Russian statement. This is not my analysis. This is just a statement from the Russian side. They say the entire city territory of Mariupol has been cleared of the militants, which is wrong, because this part there is still fighting. But they say cleared of the Nazi or Naughty formation as of foreign mercenary and Ukraine troops. So the remnants are now currently blocked within the Azovstal metallurgical plant, correct? And then then they say that the only chance they can save their life is to surrender. So they say that on the 11th of March there were 36 separate Marine brigades. So basically the Russians are naming out all the different units that was in Mariupol. On the Ukrainian side, there are 36 separate Marine brigade, 109 Territorial Defense Brigade, the 503rd Separate Marine Battalion, the company of the 53rd Separate Mechanized Brigade, units of the 17th Anti-Tank Brigade, and the Naughty formations, Azov, Ida, and Right Sector. These are all the right-wing extremist organizations, and police and state border unit services. So interestingly, if you are not aware, the police forces have been fighting as well against the Russians. This one I have been noticing for some time already, and foreign mercenaries. So they said the total number of this group here is actually 8,100. So that is on the 11th of March. So maybe they have this information because of the POW surrender. That's why they get more specific information in terms of the numbers as well. So during the liberation or the conquest of Mariupol, so 1,464 Ukrainian servicemen had surrendered. So this number actually increased from the previous one that we had, which was around 12,000 something. And they said that the number of surrender is increasing daily, including those that escaped from the Azovstal area. So they are claiming that there are Ukrainian soldiers defecting and surrendering to the Russian forces from Azovstal area. So according to testimonies basically from the POWs, the number of Ukrainian forces, Northeast, and the foreign mercenaries that currently is in Azovstal does not exceed 2,500. So 2.5k, sorry. So it's around 2,500. And in Mariupol alone, they claim, so this is a claim by the Ukrainians, that the losses of the Ukrainian forces is more than 4,000 soldiers. So they point to Zelensky's statement about the irreplaceable losses of Ukrainian military during the operation, and he claimed the number is between 2,500 to 3,000. So he says it's a common lie. It is, to me, 2,500 to 3,000 in a grand scale of like 200,000, 300,000 strong Ukrainian army. That's less than 1%. So which means that the Ukrainians are doing really, really well in this war. Then there's another statement about radio intercepts. So they say that on the Russian Ministry of Defense say that on the 16th of April, they noticed a sharp increase in terms of radio conversations among the Ukrainian forces and the foreign mercenaries that are blocked in Azovstal. And the content of a radio intercept, they say there is 367 messages, communications within the day, basically suggesting that the forces are now desperate because they have no food and no water. Of course, I can tell you this is all, take this with a massive pinch of salt that will kill your kidney, because this can actually be pure propaganda and lie. So don't just take this as a truth. I'm just reading the statement, and they said that they wanted Kiev to give them the permission to surrender, but the Ukrainian authorities prohibit this and threaten execution under wartime scenarios for maybe insubordination or betrayal or treason, perhaps. So, and I also read a random tweet or random message, I think from Russian sources, that anyone who tried to surrender can be shot by their comrades on the Ukrainian side. So it's not looking really good. So because of these statements, and they say that they wanted to let them surrender, the Russian side, so this is not from the Russian Ministry of Defense, this actually I got this information from a Russian source, that the Ministry of Defense of Russia actually published the actions needed to surrender to the Russian side. So at 5 a.m. there will be a connection to establish in terms of exchange of information, and at 5:30 the Russians and the Ukrainian side together with the Donetsk People's Republic forces will declare a complete silence regime. Actually is a ceasefire. So at 5:30 they will cease fire. At 6 o'clock both sides will start to mark their territory with red and white flags by raising flags. So the Russians will raise red color, the Ukrainians are supposed to raise white because they are supposed to surrender around the perimeter of Azovstal. So between 6 to 1 p.m. Moscow time, which is about to end now, all the exit of all Ukrainian forces and mercenaries without weapon and ammunition. So they are to surrender without any weapons. They have to just walk out. My understanding is they are supposed to raise their hand and walk out without ammunition and weapons on their hand, or they will be shot. So this is the instruction. From my experience of covering this war, they will never be followed. This will never happen. And so just take a pinch of salt. So that's Mariupol for you. Moving on, there's no news. Okay, there's news actually on the Luhansk Front. But it's not on this side, but it's actually here. So the Luhansk People's Republic forces, I guess, are now attacking Zaporizhzhia and Liman. So this position that they have been holding for months already, probably at least 30 days or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, they are now starting to push forward. There is no progress in terms of the other fronts. There's still bombardment on several Donetsk, Lysychansk, and Kremina, but they are trying to push on here. So if this area continues to be so stuck, then pushing on from here might be a good solution. I'm not sure how well defended and how well entrenched the Ukrainians are, but it is conceivable that they want to push all the way to the river, secure this bridge, or secure this path, or block this path towards Slovians in this forest area. There's also a river here, so they might want to secure these bridges. It's not going to be an easy place to actually fight in because of the amount of rivers here. So they might want to take Liman and then take Hyrodok and hold this position. And also they might want to push down, take this bridge to secure the southern path. There's two bridges over here. There's another bridge here at Kryva Luka, north of Kryva Luka, and there's another one part of the village of how to pronounce this? Zikva Vizakinomu. This sounds like Japanese. So there's a V there, so it's very Russian. So they might want to capture these bridges so that they can secure this southern path. And if they can do this, then they will be able to do this encirclement to cut off reinforcement and resupply to Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. And this mini, you can call it mini, but it's actually not that mini. It's actually 40-50 kilometers wide. If they can close this gap, they can actually end this fight earlier. And this will actually kind of pull forces away from Popasna or maybe Lysychansk to actually reinforce this area and weaken the defenses in this part. And moving west from this front here in the Luhansk front, the fighting, there's news of fighting. Actually, this fighting have been starting 2 days ago, which I did not I did not actually saw it, and I only just saw it. So let me see where I should start. So okay, let's just do this. Okay, so the Russian forces seems to have captured Sulihivka. So they have been fighting for this position for a week. I think they seems to finally capture it. They still have not captured Dovhemske yet. So this is actually coming from a tweet. So the information all here is all coming from the tweet. These are all not from Russian sources. The Russian sources don't have all this information. So all these are all from Twitter. So the Russian captured Suryhivka. So this is a major scoop. And then there is also news that they have captured Andrivka. So this town or village west of Topolsky, they have captured. And then there's yet another information that actually is from the 14th of April, which is around 2 days before the summary of that we are covering now, that the Russian forces have captured Velika Komishuvaha. So this is quite a surprise to me. And basically this is also showing how difficult the information to find, because this is just one tweet and there's no other tweets talking about all this news. So this is how difficult my job is to actually find this information. So this capture of Velika Komishuvaha is very important because it helps to secure the entire flank, the western flank of this entire force here. And because there's no other roads here, there's this major ravine here that makes even tank movement impossible to go through from here, and so they have to go through these major roads. So capturing of this location will protect them from the forces coming from Kharkiv. So, and then there is this information that was from the 10th of April, so this even longer ago, that Kapitolivka is actually under Russian forces. I have never indicated this village or town in the suburb of Izyum to be under the Russians. So in this tweet that is from April 10, this pro-Ukrainian, how do I know pro-Ukrainian? Because they use the word invader. They claim that in the occupied village, so this is another term that the pro-Ukrainian crowd use. They say that in the occupied village of Kapitolivka, the Russians kidnapped this famous Ukrainian volunteer writer Volodymyr Vakulenko. So while this kidnapping, alleged kidnapping, has nothing to do with us, but the information that Kapitolivka is under the Russians actually is meaningful to us. So which is why this helped us to plot this map, and this is a good example of how I do my mapping. It is not purely based on announcement of what villages or town that the official government source give, be it on the Ukraine, on the Russian side, but sometimes a lot of this information is coming from this kind of one-liner, seemingly unrelated to the war thing, but they give valuable information of the location. So then we have then I started to, because of all this information, then I started to search more on all these villages that around here, and I realized that a lot of the maps put Oskil to be under the Russians. I have never put, because I didn't even put Kapitolivka under the Russians, so I didn't put Oskil under the Russians. So I have no idea who is actually holding Oskil, and the assumption now by most of the maps that I saw on Twitter put Oskil under the Russian side. It does make sense because you need this you need this village or town to actually secure the entire rear of Izyum. But I have no clear evidence to show the Russians are there, neither the Ukrainians are there. On the east side of Oskil, this dam has been releasing massive amount of reservoir water. It's unknown if it was bombed or it was just opened. So in the photo that I saw on the tweet, I forgot to put the link. There is some drying up on this edge. You can see this lighter side of this reservoir here. This is because this is shallow. So this part, the soil start to show because they have released so much water into the Oskil River. So this attempt is to slow down the progress of the Russians. And in that tweet, which I forgot to put a source. They say that they have been releasing the water for days before April, 14 April. So this is just additional information to know about the situation along here. So I suspect the Ukrainians actually flooded this because it's something that they do. Russians do not open dams, so the Ukrainians open the dam and then try to flood and try to make this road unusable. Perhaps that's the case. There's bombardment on Yapskivka and Rubici, so these are still definitely under Ukrainian control. A few days ago, based on the tweets that the Ukrainian sources that I see, is that the Ukrainians actually held Borova, which was weird because I always thought that this was under Russian. And then there is a lot of Ukrainian talk about this bridge here that they claiming that it's destroyed. Sometimes they confuse to talk about the bridge here because this is also Oskil River. This is also Oskil River. So they are talking about bridges being bombed on at the Oskil River to prevent reinforcement. But the more reliable ones is that they're talking about this one. They say the Russians have been going through Borova to reinforce to Izyum. So if that's the case, then I'm not sure how Borova was under the Ukrainians. So then there was a few days ago, there was this hype about the Ukrainians taking Borova, which is also, I think we had that bombing. Let me see. Which day was that? Forget it. I lost it. So anyway, the later information was that the Russian forces retook this position and they actually drive all the way down. And now the fighting, if you will search on Twitter for Lozove, you will see that they are now reporting fighting at Lozove. So there is this exchange of positions which I was not aware of, because this is so out of the place, so away from the front line. So it takes some luck to actually realize something actually happened here. So what else? So then we have another mysterious thing about Studenok and Yaremivka. So weeks ago, there was fighting around this region. There was no clear indication that the Russians actually took the position. So, which is why after that I withdrew the entire border back. And then somehow suddenly over the past day, there was this tweet talking about the Ukrainians capturing Studenok. So I have no idea that Studenok was even in Russian hands. So suddenly there was this capturing. So I put a question mark for now. Anyway, then this will be Ukrainian. And then, but with this, they are talking about Yaremivka or Yaremianska or Yaremivka. So in relative term, this is actually under Russians, and it does make some sense to be under Russians. So there is a lot of mysterious situation happening around here that is not very clear. There is no one coming out with a very clear statement of where what things, unless they are doing their mapping. And I also do not know where they got their sources. So that's the situation that is around Izyum now. So if all of these are to be believed, then we are actually seeing a force pushing down from Borova to go down here to probably link up with to clear out this entire side of the Izyum Front. They might even want to link up with the Luhansk side, Luhansk forces. So we have this Ukrainian trying to counterattack, trying to push back over here, but they might run the risk of being encircled if the Russians decided to just bash through, if they are able to. Although it will be difficult because Sloviansk is here, and if I'm not wrong, there's a huge congregation of Ukrainian forces around here, waiting for the Russians to come. The capture of Sulihivka will also mean that they are now another step closer to Bavinkov, which I believe is the main objective, not Sloviansk. I believe this push is to encircle here, and this push is to do the bigger encirclement. of the entire East Army. Although I don't think they are having any breakthrough around this region to actually link up in this pincer movement. So we shall see. Maybe perhaps some of you are right that the Russians are able to mass enough forces to actually burst through to Pokrovsk and then to complete this pincer movement. But at this moment, it's looking like the entrenchment is just too heavy for the Russians and on this front. The entrenchment here is not as strong or deep as the ones in this Eastern Front here. So if the Russians can double up and to move faster, they might be able to capture more villages and positions that is favorable to them. But in my opinion, as I covered in a very somewhat not very convincing day 50 catch up, I said that every day that the Russians delay the offense is another day for the Ukrainians to entrench themselves, and I really mean it, and I want to show you an example. Previously, the Russians had actually attacked all the way to Bavinkov. There's a detachment that rushed all the way to Bavinkov, and they actually attacked all the way to Husarivka, and this entire force was destroyed, or they have retreated. So they will manage to able to come all this far. However, this is just a recon type of unit. It's not a main offense forces. So the force is too small to actually capture and control this area. And then now they are now stuck in this area because the Ukrainians, after this incursion, decided to quickly move up to secure this entire front. In terms of the I just forgot about this part. In the Velika Komishuvaka, previously there was a very heavy accumulation of Ukrainian forces around here. So I was surprised that this position is actually taken by the Russians. Perhaps the bombardment, the airstrikes and missile strikes is a bit too heavy for the Ukrainians, and they had to redraw to a position that they can breathe better. So that might be the case. So ultimately, the Russians still have superior firepower as compared to the Ukrainians. The only issue is entrenchment. If the Ukrainians are able to put up a strong fortification and entrenchment in strategic positions, even the superior firepower, technology, and numerous armor vehicles will find it very hard to break through, much like most of the Eastern Front here. Another news, this is coming from on the east side of Kharkiv. The Kayamna Yaruha has been liberated or conquered by the Ukrainians. How do I get this information? Was that suddenly there was this tweet talking about Rohan being liberated. Then this guy Strugatsky 101 replied, "Wasn't Rohan liberated weeks ago?" And yes, Rohan was actually liberated weeks ago. So, and then but he provided the additional information was that the Kharkiv officials said the road from Kharkiv to Shuhuiv is cleared. If the road is cleared, means that Kayamna Yaruha is actually now under Ukrainian hands. So which is why I give the capturing of Kayamna Yaruha to the Ukrainians. So this is how I managed to get this information here. So it's still looking not too bad for the Ukrainians on the Kharkiv side, because the Russians are totally not focusing in this area. Although I do think they have some defensive forces around here, but it looks like the prime focus is now around Izyum, as well as north of Sloviansk. So this is a summary for the day of 52. I just want to add a bit. The whole world, including us, you and me, we are anticipating this massive pincer movement to cut off this entire East Army. And because it's becoming so obvious that even Zelensky is talking about it, we have to start to doubt whether the Russians even want to do it anymore, because it is so obvious that they want to do this pincer movement. But the lack of push or progress around here makes me wonder if the Russians are going to continue with this pincer. or would they try something different? Because this is when something is so obvious, obviously the Ukrainians will be prepared for it. They will be entrenching themselves in a way that will prevent the pincer movement and the encirclement. So I'm starting to have some doubts on whether the Russians would want to do that, because things are getting too obvious, and that's not how you fight a war. We have this massive front line pushing south, and we might. So the obvious one is that we will see this encirclement here, and this massive pincer here. I wonder if they might want to push down here. They ignore this part. They go for Bakhmut, and then this side will go down, and then they actually encircle in this way to encircle Sloviansk and Kramatorsk in this way. Because when you encircle like this, this is also cut off, and you actually leave the forces here untouched. And so they go for Bavinkov, Oleksandrivka, Dobropilia, Pokrov, Konstantinivka and Bakhmut and Service, like in this way. This encirclement. I'm just suggesting. I'm not saying that this is what I'm analyzing. I'm just saying that try to expect something different from the Russians, because this is getting too obvious, and this cutting off of the entire East Army had been talked about for the past 50 days, right? Like right from the start of the war. So when something is so obvious, and I start to have some doubts about whether that will be the truth. So anyway, this is just my opinion, and this is the summary for day 52. I hope this is interesting for you. And if you haven't press the like button. Please press the like button. You are not subscribed, please press the subscribe button to support this channel. And if you find this information useful, do share it to your friends and your contacts that are interested in this sort of things. And I will see you in the next update.
Defense Politics Asia is a Singapore-based geopolitical and defense news media come think tank focusing on Asia from an Asian perspective. We try to provide insights on complicated issues and cast spotlights on underreported stories to give a voice to those that would otherwise not be heard. You can find out more geopolitical and military news, as well as in-depth opinions and analysis on www.defensepoliticsasia.com. To support our work, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel here, or you can become a patron on our Patreon at patreon.com/defensepoliticsasia and get access to exclusive content while be a part of the people that shapes the future of this unique platform. Please remember to press the like button and subscribe to our channel.